it's building to something, like a big reveal or like a hint at the next game or something like that, or heck, maybe even the next game. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, this is the franchise that hid what its true nature was behind like a bunch of hours of visual novel. Well, we'll see. We'll see. And welcome to GT Not Live, where we're not live, but you can write me a poem if you choose. Or you can write me a love song. Or not. I'm not going to write you a love song because you asked. Hold up. I've always wanted to talk about this with someone, and I've never had anyone in my life that I could talk about this stuff with, outside of Steph, I guess. But Matt is paid to be here, so he's forced to have this conversation with me. Do you know the song, I'm Not Going to Write You a Love Song? Okay.
Yeah.
Am I mistaken, or are the lyrics, I'm not going to write you a love song because you asked for it because you need one, correct?
Yeah.
So why does she write a love song? Or does she not? Is she rejecting... As loyal viewers might know, I don't really pay attention to song lyrics a whole heck of a lot because I think like a lot of pop music's just like, I don't know, I don't look into the lyrics. Go figure, it's the one part of my life that I don't pay a lot of attention to, but like, I just kind of wash it away. So forgive me if I'm completely misunderstanding how this song goes, but it's always been weird. Not gonna write you a love song because you asked for it, because you need one. You say, not gonna write you a love song. Anyway, yeah. Why is she not writing a love song?
I'd argue it's not a love song.
What?
It's not a love song. The song
itself is not a love song. Sure.
Yeah.
It is not.
Right.
So is it... I'm confused, Matt. Can you explain to me love song?
So essentially...
which is not a love song?
She's not into it. It's more of a breakup song.
Okay.
She's not going to write you a love song.
Right.
Even though you've asked for it.
Okay.
Because you need one, you see. I'm not going to write you to stay.
I'm not going to write you to say.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm already learning a lot because I always thought it said, I'm not going to write you say.
Oh.
But no, to stay makes so much more sense. I'm one of those guys who just is really bad at hearing lyrics.
Really?
Yeah, so bad.
Huh.
Okay.
She says...
So she's writing a song to break up, but it is titled Love Song.
Yes. Which is ironic.
Ironic. Isn't it ironic?
It could, yeah.
Don't you think?
One could interpret.
It's like 10,000 spoons when all you need is a knife.
I don't know what that means.
It's like meeting the man of your dreams and then meeting his beautiful wife.
Yes.
Except most of those aren't ironic. Most of those are just unfortunate situations. They fulfill neither the definition of dramatic nor situational irony.
Well, colloquially, they do fit the definition.
Well,
You're just being a stickler.
Am I, or am I just being right? I don't. Anyway, hey, hi, friends. Today we are continuing our coverage of Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. You'll notice that Stephanie is not on the couch with me, unfortunately. And the reason is there's a lot here. The side stories are all very long, and there's no interaction. And so we would just be sitting here reading a story to you, which, to be fair, not the worst thing in the world. I think it would be a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun, making fun of the characters, making fun with the characters, doing the voices, things like that. But if we had any hope of me doing a theory about this game at any point in time prior to the year of our Lord 2022, I kind of had to speed through things in the background. So let me tell you, you have not missed really much of anything when it comes to like deep lore stuff as it applies to the side story. So here, Matt, pull up the Doki Doki screen here. So as you can see, we've gotten through what I believe to be all the different side stories. And they're cute, they're adorable. They're all stories of the different character relationships, right? And the interesting thing about these is you're not in them, right? And so you're getting a sense of how these characters interact with each other before the formation of the literature club, around the duration, the formation of it, and seeing them interact with each other without you present and without the rest of the club present. Like, you're getting Natsuki bouncing off of Monika, you're getting Yuri bouncing off of Natsuki, relationships and dynamics that you don't see in the main game, which is cool, and it fills out this world a bit more, it fills out these characters a bit more, but as far as from like a lore standpoint or anything, like Monika doesn't get meta in it. There's no real breaking of the fourth wall. You see, like, Monica practicing the piano and things that kind of pay off in the main game, but nothing beyond that. So Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, there's a lot here, and it took a long time to get through and read all of these. And I also got through the main DDLC game, 3-4 times, whatever it is, deleting characters, restarting, deleting various things. I'm not at 100% completion, but I do have enough at this point to, I think we're currently sitting at like 85%, yeah, 88%. 84%, I can read numbers. That's an 8 and a 4. I do math online for a living. 84%. So it's a good amount. You'll see here that we've unlocked pretty much all the wallpapers. We're missing one of the poems. We've gotten all the CGs, a couple of the secrets, which I believe these are always just kind of like randomly thrown at you as you play through the game. So that's just going to be me restarting the game a bunch of times. All the backgrounds, and missing a decent number of sketches and promo stuff. I don't know if those will weigh into completion percentage. We'll see. Music, I know we were waiting on something that had to do with teamwork. Last time we did one of these theory crafting videos for Doki Doki Literature Club, and I've gotten Let's Teamwork, so I'm assuming this is kind of our important title. We also have this is still track 6, Poem Panic, which was 228, and that did not work. But this one has to do with teamwork, and all the other tracks have to do with teamwork, so I think this might be the number that we're going to change to. And then the last thing that I wanted to call out here is we're starting to get emails, which I have not read. I'm going to read them online with you guys. Like, they are clicked on just to move the progress meter. Like, I was hoping that would help my completion percentage, but I haven't actually read them. So this is a live theory crafting of Doki Doki Literature Club, with more of the clues in place now. So we have a general idea of the side stories and what they do and don't contain. We've gotten to refresh ourselves on Doki Doki Literature Club at this point and remembered all the meta weirdness that's going on in it. I think that there's a couple more hidden files that we'll be able to do today. And then we'll read through the email, and we can just live theory craft this, because I have, episodes that I've been working on for this. And obviously a big part of creating theories around this stuff is making sure that we get 100% completion. We're looking at as much of the files that we know exist, or, that we're finding. So there'll probably be maybe one final one of these live theory crafting where, hey, this is me at 88%. I keep saying 88%, 84%. This is me at 84%. I'll probably get to 100% in the background, and then, go to making a game theory after this. But I really enjoy kind of thinking through this stuff with you. At this point, I've done a lot, and there's still more that we can discuss live here. Also, I got to catch up Matt on all this stuff too. So I think this will be good. And then coming up on game theory, there'll be one, if not multiple. It depends on how long these end up being. Doki Doki is always a really dense series. And so usually I aim for one theory, but usually I get to the end of it and I'm like, oh, there's so much here, and it needs to be properly explained. So let me just spread it out a little bit more just to give it the time that it needs. Plus, it's a franchise that I love. So that's where we're at, friends. So today, live theory crafting Doki Doki Literature Club with our new clues. So first, let's start with the mail. So plan of the day, mail, then we'll hop into any other hidden files that we can unlock based on that music code, and then we'll just kind of pontificate for a little bit, shall we? So here are the mail, and it's interesting. You'll notice, so this was the first one I unlocked. This was second. They seem to unlock every couple percent. Like once we hit 50, 55-ish, they started to unlock bit by bit as more and more of the story got completed, and as I read more and more of the side stories. So it's interesting that's telling it to us. It's telling the story to us backwards. I think that's pretty interesting, where this was the first one that we unlocked, but it was at 12-9, 12-8, 12-7, 12-6, 12-5, 12-4. So we're getting the story told backwards. I don't know if that's going to play into it, but it is something that I noticed as these were popping up, and I think it's probably noteworthy. So it's important to remember that this is the most recent one. Have a Nice Weekend by Ive Laster. So again, this is looking at the metaverse employees. He's the senior engineer. Cool. I'm on leave the rest of the week. Contact Ravi if you need to schedule server time, but I expect my jobs to run for a few days since we've collected so much data this week. How about we arrange a meeting to discuss the results when I return? Great, that is an email. That is your email. Fantastic. Cool. Rhea Vorte. Rhea Vorte is the system administrator. So this is good. I like that they all have their signatures here because all these new characters were introduced to us. It's, they have minimal characterization, so it's helpful to have them associated with the job so we can get a sense of who they are. System administrator. Thank you to everyone who worked so hard on the control simulation. I can't imagine how tedious it must have been to so delicately hide Monica's elevated permissions from her without disrupting our connection to the VM. Just to clarify, all of the recordings labeled side stories are part of the control simulation, right? I'm noticing some details of the characters' lives here and there that differ a bit from those in VM1, even trivial ones. Is it part of the butterfly effect from some of Monica's more fundamental changes, or is it a result of her just messing around with other characters in VM1 as her own experiment or for fun? So if I'm keeping track, we have what, like 5 different universes in total, with 3 or 4 of them created and then destroyed by Monica, of course. It's funny because I keep wanting to speculate on which one is the real universe, but in reality, they all are as real as ours in it anyway. Okay, so this is interesting. Just to clarify, all the recordings labeled side stories are part of the control simulation. So we know that VM1, so based on the past theory crafting stuff that we've done, based on the clues that we've received so far, VM1, Virtual Machine 1, is the world of Doki Doki Literature Club, right? It is we're dealing with this is like the most meta upon meta. Like, this game was already super meta to begin with, but it seems like DDLC Plus is really layering on the meta story of this, where, as I understand it, and if I've been reading and paying attention to everything correctly, Metaverse Enterprise Solutions, this group of people working at this company, they developed Doki Doki Literature Club to test what people do or what entities do when put in a simulated environment, a simulated world, right? In an effort to figure out if they themselves are in a simulation a la like Matrix, right? Like, we are all Neo and Morpheus trapped in the Matrix, and if we take the red pill, oh man, now all of a sudden we're on the surface world, and Zion is a all-night rave party, and there's octopus machines that have us enslaved as human batteries. And you go lower, and you can go like layers and layers lower, right? So here's Metaverse Enterprise Solutions, here's Doki Doki Literature Club, and they've created this world to try and see if, like, hey, are we ourselves a simulation? Which is wacky to think about. What this seems to be telling me, and I think this explains a little bit of the weirdness of the side stories, is, so Virtual Machine 1 is the game that we play, right? But they have a control group in there where Monica doesn't know. They've hidden Monica's elevated permissions. It says it right here in this email, right? Monica's elevated permissions have been hidden without disrupting our connection to the virtual machine, right? So the side stories are not connected to, where are the side stories here? Ooh, here. So the side stories are unrelated to the events of the main game. The reason they're unrelated is because they're the control group of this experiment, right? Am I reading this correctly? So they are the experiment where, hey, Monica doesn't know that she has all these powers, and then the main game is Monica does know she has these powers. What's going to happen? So this is our control group. So that's why the side stories are separate. That's also probably why we're not involved in it. Like, we're another variable or something. And so it's good experimental design, which is weird to think about. So this is what would happen in the world if Monica never became self-aware, versus the main game, which is her kind of going off the rails and destroying everything. Right? Am I going crazy on this matter?
No, that all checks out.
Does that make sense?
My question is, who are we then? Right? Because we're sentient. Right?
As in, like, us, wait, you and me right now in this world, in this room?
No, like, what is the player's role in this experiment?
I'm not sure. Like, let's keep looking. Hold up. Okay, so that was side stories. We have more. Character discrepancy, Lib Musi, she is the engineer. Engineer. Having run the control simulation for a while, it's evident that a certain character... Oh, here you go. Having run the control simulation for a while, it's evident that a certain character is missing from any mention or appearance. Okay, so we're talking about the side stories. This makes me speculate that Monica's meddling is less clumsy than we think, because she would have had to manufacture this character herself as a way of forcing interaction between her and the user. Could that be why the character has such limited and dissonant personality traits, or am I reading too much into this? I'll open an issue to start tracking info and observations of the anomaly of this character appearing. So I think this is answer. I mean, good segue. Did you know that this was coming or no?
No, I didn't. But
no, good segue.
Right, thank you.
So Monica's self-awareness is the thing that creates us, or at least our ability to interact with her, right?
She can see past the fourth wall, and we are there past the fourth wall.
Right. So basically, side stories, 4 girls in a schoolroom as far as they're concerned, and we're just like peeking in at their adventures, right? Main game, Monica's aware from the beginning. She knows that someone's watching her. She's like, hey, I'm in a simulation. How do I get in contact with those people?
Yeah.
So she meddles in the code or whatever in order to contact us. Or the Metaverse Institute or whatever, right? Like,
yeah.
Whoever is that layer up, she knows that it exists, but she doesn't know how to get there. So she creates this empty void of a character in order to, like, you know, be able to prompt interaction with us. That's really interesting. So that's why we're not there in the side stories. Okay, so we've given her information then, right? OMG. Okay, who's responsible for creating a Twitter account for Monica? I think it's hilarious, but for God's sake, don't tell Paula. Ha 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 ha. It would get 404 in a microsecond. Okay, so I'm sure... So this is the second time it's 404. I saw the 534? That was 5 universes, 3 or 4 destroyed by Monica. So we have some files that we can look for. Are you relaying her tweets manually, or did you code some kind of pass-through layer to automate it? Based on the contents of the tweets, not screaming for help, I assume they're coming from the control simulation. And this is from Ive. Who's responsible for creating a Twitter account for Monica? Monica does have a Twitter account. She's had a Twitter account since the release of the original game, I think. Does that... Okay, I think it's hilarious, but don't tell Paula. Are you relaying her tweets manually, or did you code some kind of pass-through layer? Based on the contents of the tweets, not screaming for help, I assume they're coming from the control. Okay. So this is telling us that the Twitter is non-canon? What is the purpose of this? Outside of giving us the clue 404 and maybe the time code 1206 or something. Or OMG. Maybe OMG is a clue. Like M13, N14, O15. No, 15. That's weird. I'm trying to think. Are you relaying her tweets manually, or did you code some kind of pass-through layer? Yeah, so it's either showing that she's the control group Monica is crossing over into the main universe too, which is odd, or this is them washing their hands of like that Twitter account, just saying, hey, this is another thing, or maybe it's simulation Monica has broken out of the game and is pretending to be unaware Monica or something. I don't know. This one's weird to me. What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, right.
She sort of knows. And so, I mean, the fact that the question would be placed out there that, like, is this from the simulation, or is, like, are you relaying this directly from her?
Yeah.
Sounds like it's being relayed from her, but she sort of knows.
Yeah.
So she's, like, hiding as...
You think so? She's hiding as this control group version of herself?
Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe. Yeah, that one is a bit unclear. I think that one's a bit unclear. So that's another Ive. Paula, stay focused on our goals. We're going to synergize and keep everything top of mind, guys. As a reminder, to help guide our data collection, any analysis performed should be focused on answering some of the main questions. How does granting elevated access to the virtual machine affect a person's emotional state? Okay. How does granting elevated access to the virtual machine affect a person's values and goals? We know that she gets really depressed, as you would if you realize that your whole life was meaningless. Her values and goals become get out, save friends, and get contact with the people who are puppeteering me. How does someone effectively navigate an experiment with their ability to change the contents of their VM? We don't really know for sure how she does that, outside of she says, like, I'm manipulating depression sliders. But we also know that she's creating a character to interact with us, so that's interesting. How is elevated access being weaponized? Okay, well, there you go. That's that. She's creating characters. She's attacking her friends. She's trying to, like, befriend us. What actions and values most contribute to the destruction of the universe? Most importantly, how might your observations apply to our own universe? See, again, they keep hitting this, and it's an interesting meta-narrative, this idea of, like, create a simulation to figure out if you're in a simulation. They keep bringing this up. How might your observations apply to our own universe? Bonus, how can we present this to upper management as an operation that benefits the company? Hey, Company X, none of this matters because we are just components in an illusion created by the machines. Our bodies are in little goo pods in a perpetual lightning storm, and we're powering Octopus God. Right? Hey, hold up. Have you seen The Matrix, Matt?
I have. I have seen The Matrix.
All three?
Who has time?
Okay.
I've seen the first two, I think.
Okay.
I've definitely paid attention to the first one.
You just let it just all wash over you.
Yeah. I mean,
the first one's worth paying attention to.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of being in one of those pods.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's it. There you go, friends.
I would rather be plugged into the Matrix than like deal with the realities of living in one of the pods.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plug me back in.
Plug you back in. Especially with what we see of the surface world. I gotta say, the surface world ain't great. It's a bunch of like disgusting machinery and
they smell.
And cave parties.
They've
The cave party is gross.
I haven't seen them shower once.
No, sir, no, and they're sweaty.
Covered in goop.
It's hot. It's sweaty. They're covered in goop. They don't shower. Yeah, it's bad.
And they're like inserting things into their bodies.
Yeah.
Who knows if they're getting sterilized.
Disinfected. Mm-hmm. There's no hand sanitizer in Zion. Tell you what, my friends, no hand sanitizer.
The outfits are cool though.
I'll
cool. Give them that.
But the outfits are cooler in the Matrix. Long coats with like the dark sunglasses and stuff.
Yeah, I guess it's more of like a steampunky thing.
Yeah, it's not even steampunk. It's like cave rave, isn't it?
What's the difference?
I feel like there is a difference between steampunk and cave rave. Anyway,
are you more of a steampunk guy or a cave rave guy?
Oh, I don't care what adjective goes in front of the word rave. Not that one, unless
got it.
Invisible rave.
I heard
that. Solo rave, that one. Unrelated note, whoever changed the color scheme of the desktop to pink, can you please change it back? It's unprofessional and it runs the risk of drawing eyes. Huh. That's a weird one. Can we... Whoever changed the color scheme of the desktop to pink. That's interesting. That's just an odd little detail. Again, like, is that... I mean, maybe it's... here's the thing. All this could be minor stuff, but this is a game, and this is a series where, like, minor clues lead to interesting, tidbits, Easter eggs, things like that. It makes me wonder if it was actually someone in the group who did it, or if it's, again, Monica starting to reach out and trying to cross over, and so she changes, she starts reaching out on Twitter. She changes the color scheme. Like, she's showing whatever control she can over small things, day over day over day over day over day, creating a new... Because it's escalating, right? It's change it to green, create a Twitter account, create an entirely new entity, and then these are kind of giving us context. Ethics by Paula, project manager. Simply put, it's not our job to arbitrarily decide upon some code of ethics just because we're the first ones to do this to our knowledge. That's the government's job to figure out, long after we've made enough headway for it to no longer apply to us. It's fundamentally flawed to apply ethical reasoning to this anyway, because humanity's code of ethics is based upon nothing more than our knowledge and understanding of life forms similar to ourselves. We don't have ethics for killing bacteria or plants, only for the creatures that we can convincingly project our emotions onto. The humans in our virtual machines operate completely differently from us on a fundamental level, and therefore should not be taken any more seriously than a machine that's programmed to print "I feel sad." We're engineers, not philosophers. That's interesting. Okay, so this is Paula trying to set up the idea that, this is code, and so we shouldn't be personifying code. We shouldn't be getting attached to code. It is right, and this brings up the interesting moral dilemma in general of what defines life. I mean, as robots become more and more like people and smarter and independently intelligent via their artificial intelligence, you have those like weird ethical lines of like, when does it become living? Does it ever become living? You know, and this, right? Like, is it just the computer manipulating us? You know, I think all of us get attached to Sayori in the game. You know, she's really sweet, she's endearing, she means well, and then all of a sudden she, you know, undergoes this like tragic bit of self-harm, and like, hey, we all feel it, right? Like, even though it's a game and it's virtual and whatever, that idea of like humans are just so attracted to, you know, human like stories and human like emotions that we like immediately are drawn to this. So it's just interesting. So I think that catches us up with all the mail, at least. I don't have any more here. I'm sure that as I progress closer to 100%, there might be a couple more messages, but that's what I'm drawing out of the mail right now. There was a couple here. The 534 one might be a clue. 404 seems like it's going to be a clue. But first, let's hop into the hidden files. And there was one that we had been waiting to unlock a specific music cue for. I think it was like the track 6 was the message, right? Do you remember what file order that was?
I do not.
You do not. Well, thanks.
I could find it.
Yeah, if you could, was it 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3? I think it was like one of those. There's so many number combinations at this point, and times and this and that I'm kind of forgetting them all. So let's see. This is
it was we left off, I believe, on the one called Track 6 Name Ideas.
Yeah.
Right, which was
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
I
Yep.
beat you to it. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. No. There you go.
Well done.
And we just determined that, okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, and it is... Oh, no. That was, we were looking for the one after that, right? Because track names gave us, we were able to open that one.
Yeah, but it gave us some information about one that we couldn't figure out.
Correct. So what number, do you remember, or do you have it, what number track names brought us to?
Yes. Well, so track names gave us...
Was it 030? 303? 404?
03 is 0.
It was the 00?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
The oboe face.
Oboe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Meeting notes 3. Okay, there it is. Yes, I do remember. Okay, this one. And we were looking for the time, and now we think that the time is going to be the one that had to do with teamwork, because all his songs were like, teamwork. Okay, 158. So let's change the timer to 158. 158. So we're doing 57. Physical address. I wonder if that's anything. Again, I feel like this is a game where there's code and secrets hidden everywhere, and so I see physical address, and I'm like, that's interesting. Wait, we unlocked a new song. How do we unlock a new song? Huh. Strange. Okay. Files, internal, 030. Here we go. Okay, there we go. Thank goodness. Meeting notes. Control simulation progress. Idea, snapshot slightly earlier in time. Compare end of control sim to start of Virtual Machine 1. Better comparison than both being parallel. Mature control sim versus reference the VM1. Easier to detect failures to hide elevated access permissions. Fifth entity in VM1. Not part of an original genetic model, not present in data dumps. Very bizarre. Ive is less talkative today. Meeting ending on time. 12:55 OMG. Okay, so this confirms what we were talking about actually earlier, which is that it seems like they're hitting this point a lot of times, right? The control sim, the side stories, you compare the end of that to the start of Doki Doki Literature Club, which again is yet another point of confirmation here that the side stories, we didn't, again, read through them all, but they end as the club is starting and kind of where Doki Doki Literature Club proper would start. So again, this is just a confirmation that those end, the actual game begins, they're two separate worlds. Fifth entity in VM1, that's interesting. Not part of original genetic model, not present in the data dumps. So is this again referencing Monica's creation of a character, or is this someone else?
Well, would you not be the fifth character?
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, are we? I mean, we are the fifth character.
Yeah.
But is this meaning that they're actually in the fifth entity in Virtual Machine 1? So is this now there's a fifth character, or is there a fifth person or personality in here? You know what I mean? Like, not just, hey, here's this standalone player character, but is there a physical person or personality present?
I would assume that entity refers... I mean, because if they're counting each of the characters as 4 entities...
Right.
Then an entity is probably just a character. Because they're not, like...
they're not alive.
Yeah.
So you're not... Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably they're not... Yeah, they're not alive.
Mm-hmm.
So that would not be... That's interesting. So... But they already know. Like, unless this is taken from an earlier point... It's weird that the emails would call it out, but then the notes would also call it out. Like, in the emails, it's like kind of like, oh, she created this player character. Unless it's just redundant information.
I mean, you go to a lot of meetings. How often?
There's a lot of redundant information in a meeting. You know, yeah. Yep, it's true. Okay. So that tells us, okay, she created the character. It may or may not be important. Ive is less talkative today. Meeting ending on time. 12:55. OMG. What? OMG.
We did get an email with the subject line OMG.
OMG.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yep. Yep. Right, I'm like, that sounds familiar. Okay, Ive. Also about Ive. Okay, that's responsible. Okay. 404. So I'm assuming, okay, that's it. So 404, 12:55. Is that kind of what we're thinking here?
Yeah.
Okay. Nope, not characters. Internal. Oh, why am I gotta change the time. 12:55. DDLC! Hallelujah. Doki Doki Literature Club. Welcome to the rebellion. We're all working our butts off with our jobs on the line, so we might as well have some fun with it too. Totally get why Paula wants to rush into data collection, but my proposal is to shift our efforts a little and build out some new features for making real-time connection to the virtual machine more useful and fun. If we're basically simulating a miniature universe, then it's kind of a waste not to be able to spend some quality time in there, right? But actually, I think wrapping this whole thing in the guise of a video game is a great and hilarious way of covering our tracks. And if we do a good enough job, we might be able to present it to Paula as a useful endeavor. Key selling features: 5 to 6 hours of misery, dread, and cute girls. Learn through the existential crises of others how to cope with your own simulated universe. Again, simulated universe. I don't think they're treating this as a joke. Witness the destruction of a universe over and over in video game form. Ha ha ha! This is going to be absolutely amazing. And no, the irony isn't lost on me. Creating a secret team within a secret team is more meta than I signed up for. And that's saying something considering we literally work for the Metaverse Enterprise Solutions. We can come up with a fake game studio name and everything, too. Obviously, no plans to go public with this. But it would be a good part of the whole disguise. Plus, I want a cool team name that makes us feel like a bunch of heroes for saving the universe. Kidding, but at least we're saving our jobs. Something like Team Salvation. Huh. So what does this mean? Huh. So to your point from earlier, Matt, and your question about where do we sit, it seems like we are, like they're looping us in at this point, right? Like,
yeah.
The fact that they're saying Team Salvation is clearly a reference to Team Salvato, who is the creator of the game, creators of the game. So so they end up so presumably they end up settling on the name Team Salvato, which means that Metaverse Enterprises is like our layer of reality, right? So we are all of this is operating at our level. Doki Doki is disguising itself as a video game. Monica's going to surface up to our level, and Metaverse Enterprises and this whole team thinks that there's something above us. So we are in the Matrix, right? Am I reading this all correctly? You getting this? You reading what I'm putting down?
Kinda, a little bit. I don't know. You kind of lost me at the end.
Well, because their whole rationale for doing this is to see if there's a layer on top.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. So we're looking for the top bun. Where's the top bun, Matt? Where's the top bun? Need more buns. Okay, so weird. Is this where it kind of comes to a stop then? Because I'm not seeing any codes. Welcome to the rebellion. We're working our butts off. So they're losing their jobs. They create the virtual machine. He wants to make it a game. So does he make it a game or does Monica make it a game? No, the game is a disguise for this endeavor.
Yeah.
So they're creating this. It's basically a science project, a computer science project. But hey, let's disguise it as a game so people don't know, and maybe we can package it up and sell it or whatever. That's interesting. Huh. Weird. 5 to 6. 5 to 6. So what would that be? Like 5:55? 5 to 6 hours, or if you're saying it as a time, it would be 5:55, 5 to 6. It doesn't really seem like there's anything else. I guess maybe this is where the thread ends, and it's like, whoa, Team Salvato, that's interesting. Huh. Did that get us a new mail? It did not get us a new mail. Where was that one mail where it was 534? Let's try 534. If there's a file there, we'll have to find the time. 5, 3. Nothing. Shoot.
So it seems like there is one that we've missed.
Really?
But I'm not sure. How to...
Maybe it's one that we have to unlock if we get more stuff. Because, I mean, we're still missing stuff, and presumably there's some emails that we haven't gotten to.
Yeah.
I feel like it might be a completion thing.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But there's only one. We're only missing one file at this point?
I believe so.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've done a good job of finding these. And we're at 84%. I bet we, unlock one other thing at 85%. Probably another email or something. Where am I missing 15%? Is it just all this? I'm surprised that it's not higher. Is it all just this from balance? Right? Look at all this. This is just restarting the game a bunch of times, I think. I don't know how to get these. We'll have to play around. Okay. So, theory crafting. What have we learned today, friends, in our kind of theory crafting? It seems like Monica is pushing against reality, and that reality is ours. So, Team Salvato is another name for this Metaverse Enterprise Solution group that is running these tests, right? Because Team Salvato exists in our universe, we are all implicitly on that level. And the side stories are the control group of this experiment. Monica seems to be aware of what's going on over there, as well as this layer on top, and she's trying to ascend, I guess, or kind of break out of the game, presumably to help her friends. Or, take down the people that have been puppeteering her. I don't blame her for either. And it seems like she's starting to be able to do that by changing the layout of the computer system to pink, by creating a Twitter account, by creating a character entity in the game that everyone's like, what is this fifth character entity? And engaging with us as a player of this game. That's interesting. I'm trying to think if there's much else that we've learned at this point. We're starting to get an idea of their personalities, and what they're looking out for. I'm curious. There hasn't been a whole lot of Project Libitina stuff. There's the one character named Lib Musi, the engineer. But that's the only Lib, because for those of you who forgot, the Portrait of Markov stuff in Project Libitina is open your third eye. It makes you a bloodthirsty killer. It's a separate simulation or separate world that was crossing over into Monica was able to kind of see into it. I'm surprised that we haven't gotten any way to see that. So we still got 15% of the game left. We're gonna continue playing around back here to see if we can unlock the last 100, the last 15%, and see what else we get, and maybe that'll open up some more theory crafting. You'll find out if there's a game theory. You'll know that we've done it. We might come back on GT Live one last time once we've unlocked everything, do some more live theory crafting to kind of complement what is happening over on game theory. But yeah, it's interesting. Let us know your theories down in the comments below. We'll see. We'll see what else comes. We might have to look up how to complete 100%, or I might just have to do a bunch more. I'm intrigued. It's not. We're not. I feel like there's a big thing that we're either missing or that like we're nipping on, but we haven't gotten there yet, and maybe we can assess once we hit 100%. It feels like we're really close, but not quite there. It's building to something, like a big reveal or like a hint at the next game or something like that, or heck, maybe even the next game. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, this is the franchise that hid what its true nature was behind like a bunch of hours of visual novel. I wouldn't be surprised if, again, like maybe we find a demo of this new game buried at the bottom of this, or I don't know, like some evidence of the characters or something like that. We'll see. So anyway, thank you guys for live theory reacting with us on this one. We're in the process of still piecing this all together. Like I said, the side stories, if you are interested in this game, these characters, this world, side stories are absolutely worth your time. It would just be a lot for us to read. It would be hours upon hours because we read them pretty slowly. So please, go support Dan Salvato and the team that's creating this metaverse by checking out Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. Help me do all the weird stuff in this game, because there's a lot of weird stuff. And even when that total hits 100%, I wouldn't be surprised if there was actually more. Maybe that's me overthinking things, but like back in the days of like SNES, you could get 105%, 110% in some games, which doesn't make any sense, but like, this is that sort of game where I wouldn't be surprised if you can like break it and go over the top or find more things hidden. So let me know down in the comments below, what are your thoughts, what are your theories on the information that we have? We'll probably do one more of these, and there'll be game theories coming out. So thank you for joining me on this ride. It's a really cool franchise. Anything that has this much thought put into it and this much kind of like layers, this many layers put into it, it's very cool. So we'll see you all next time. In the meantime, thank you for watching. And remember, it wasn't a live stream, but it was a video for you. See ya!